on the timer. You may begin.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mason Wong. Welcome to my presentation. Today, I'll give you an overview on the reduction of birth rate in Hong Kong. I'm going to divide my presentation into 3 parts. First of all, I will discuss about the reasons behind the reduction of birth rate. Secondly, I'm going to discuss about how it affects our society and the future development. And lastly, I'm going to give some suggestions to the government on how they can encourage couples to have more babies. If you have any questions, please kindly wait till the end of my presentation. So, let's start with our first part, shall we? There are 3 major reasons of the reduction of birth rate. They are the increasing percentages of late marriage and even some people choosing not to marry. Second, the changing concept of social norms. And the last one, the decreased income of people at the marriageable age. Let me talk to this further. Recently, there is a trend of late marriage in Hong Kong. The average age of people of first marriage for women is 28, and the average age of first marriage for local men is 31. Both of them are higher than the average age of first marriage all around the world, which is 26 and 29 respectively. Late marriage will shorten the period of female fertility and increase the risk of miscarriage. Besides, with the introduction of feminism and sex equality, the concept of social norms also changes. Nowadays, with a higher education level and an increased social status, women prefer to have their own career rather than having a family. They are no longer confined by the traditional concept of having a family. And the last reason is the bleeding economic situation of people at marriageable age. The decreased income makes them are not able to afford the cost of parenthood. Right now, we have discussed about the reasons of reduction of birth rate. Let's move on to the next topic. How does it affect what are the consequences to our society? Let's start with the most serious issue, aging population. Aging population with less youngsters and more senior residents in Hong Kong. Our next generation have to take care of more senior residents in the future. By 2039, every thousands of Hong Kong people have to take care of 454 senior residents. It's 4 times than now. 4 times. You can imagine how heavy the burden is. Moving on to my next point, aging population is also harmful to our healthcare system. Since the government has subsidized a lot in the healthcare services, and long-term disease patients will increase as the result of aging population. More hospital services are needed. It will increase the government's financial burden and increase the work pressures to the doctors and nurses. And other serious consequences is the decrease of labor force. Let me talk about this. When people retire in the future, there will be not enough labor force in the market. It will threaten our international competitiveness. Moreover, with heavier workload, people do not have time to have a family. It will become another vicious cycle for reduction of birth rate. So, what can we do with low birth rate? Here are some suggestions to the government. The government can give some subsidies to parents. The more children they have, the more subsidies they get. So they can having more children without worrying about the financial burden. Besides, the government can also set up more nurseries and daycare centers, enabling parents to strike a balance between work and childcare. Now, let me give you a short summary. I hope I can give you some ideas on the reduction of birth rate. It is caused by the late marriage, changing concept of social norms, and the decreased economic situation. And it will affect our society by causing aging population, increasing government's financial burden, and the decrease of labor force. I assume all of you are clear about that children is the owner of our future society. Remember, more children, better future. That's all of my presentation. And thank you for your listening. Please feel free to ask if you have any questions. Yes?
Does the government have any policy to deal with the low birth rate now?
Thank you, Claudia. And you would like to ask if the government has any policy to deal with the low birth rate right now?
Yes.
From my understanding, there is no any policies to deal with the low birth rate directly. But I know there is a taxation exemption for the parents who have more children. But the government do not have a clear population policy or deal with the low birth rate. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there any possible impact to the society?
Sorry?
Is there any possible impact? Other possible impacts to the society?
Possible. Do you mean
Positive.
positive?
Yes.
Positive effect. I think if you mean by positive effect of the low birth rate, I think yes. As the resources in Hong Kong is not sufficient now, if the birth rate decrease, which means less people, and these resources can be concentrated on them. They maybe have a better education, better development, and better training on their studies or on their careers.